Hey, welcome back to the 50 plus React.js project series. And in this video, we're going to be discussing about that how can you creating one interactive product page using React.js and Tailwind CSS. This is the website that you're going to building out here, or you can see the product page that you're going to build. So first, what I'm going to do, I am simply going to black throw down this website or the web pages into some kind of component or some kind of div, because this is my style of teaching the others. And then after that, you can go on the coding part, right? So this is nothing but one full div, or you can say the full nothing but one container. And inside this container, we having on another div, or you can say container. Okay. And inside this div, we having one sections for images. This is the left part, and this is the right part. Okay. That's mean what you have, we need to having some do some padding or do some styling on that, and need to making this div inside and center. Okay. And inside this div, what you have, we having another div, we having on another div. Okay, which one is containing the images. And after that, we have the another div which are containing the four images. Okay, these images, first images, second images, third images, and the fourth images. And when the user select, based on that, it will change in the images. And inside this right side, we having one div for heading and another div for the paragraph. And then we having one another span tag for our dollar. Then we having another div, and inside this div, what we have, we having the positive and the negative for incrementing the counting, and also one button. Okay, so this is how this full website is built. Okay, that's mean this is one full container, which one we need to having some maximum or the minimum width. And this is one full div, which one in the center and having the gray color of the text. Then you having one left side div and the right side div. And in the left side div, we having one images, and also having some images where you can select the images from here after clicking on that. And then we have the special sneakers is nothing but on heading. And also you can see here we having some paragraph and also price tag and this one. Okay, if I closing this one and if I selecting this one, you can see here it will changing this one. And also you can see how hover effect look like. Okay, you can see also having the hover effect on here. Okay, you can see that. And also you can see here you can increase this one, you can also decrease this one, but it's not less than 0. You can go to the minimum side. Okay, so and also you can see if I see hover over here, you can see how cool effect you can see this one. Okay, so now what I can do, I am simply go on the BS Code and try to creating this product page from the script. I hope you enjoyed. So without any wasting time, Har Har Mahadev, let's start the tutorial. Well, so right now you can see here we are in our BS Code, and you already creating here the React projects as well as you configure the Tailwind CSS. If you don't know how to create the React project and also how to configure the Tailwind CSS, you can follow the project number 2. Otherwise, you can follow these documentations in order to creating your projects and as well as how can you configure the Tailwind CSS. Okay, so now what I can do, I am simply go on the BS Code and try to start the design part right now. Well, so now what I can do, I'm simply going to go on inside the source folder and I'm going to creating here a folder that's called components. So let's say components. And inside this components, I'm going to creating here a new file that's called the product page. So let's say product page.jsx. Fine. Now I'm going to include it inside my app.jsx file. So let's include it here. So this is the by default one. So what I can do, I am simply going to remove all of the code from here. Okay, not this one. Remove it from here to here. Okay, and after that, what I can do, I am simply going to add our product page. Okay, we can removing these all of the things because it's not needed right now. And then I'm going to include here our product page. Okay, that's called product page. Okay, and also I need to import it. So let's say import product. Okay, product page. Okay, that's the product page from. Then I need to giving here the path of that. So let's say it should be inside my component. Okay, it's not coming. So it should be the component. Then we have the product page. Okay, fine. Then after that, what I can do, I am simply going to wrap this product page into one div. So let's say div, and I am going to wrap it inside this div. Control X, and inside the div, I'm going to give it here the product page, and I'm going to save it here and format the document. Cool. Now let's go on the product page and let's try to creating here our product page. So RFCE and it's created. Now let's checking this out. It is working or not. Go on the terminal, new terminal, and say npm run dev, and it will opening it out in the port. Okay, follow the link, and then you can see anything else here. Nothing else here. Okay, no problem. We can go on the app.jsx, or otherwise you can go on here and click on inspect and see is there any problem is coming up or not. No problem on here. And if I hover over here, you can see here, yeah, it's maybe created. Okay, you can see here it's maybe created. Yeah, you can see product page. Okay, it's not showing up. Yeah, it's showing up right now. Okay, you can see product page. Cool. Now our linking is done. So what I can do now, we can start the designing. And now inside this div, I can giving here on class name, and I'm going to giving here some number of height and the width of our pages, because if I see our applications, just to white, okay, here we go. Not like that, not like that. It's control tab. Okay. Yep. Yeah. You can see here we having one single page, and inside that we having some margin and padding, and inside the middle side we have all of our content, right? That's our show, those text. Okay, and we already discussed about that, right? So what I can do is simply going to giving here the height and the width of that. Let's say max of number of width is number, let's say 7 XL, and also I'm going to make it is margin auto, so that it coming into the middle, and after that I'm going to give me some padding on that. So now if I'm checking on that, just to white, then you can see product page. Okay, you can see the product page is coming on these sections. Now inside these sections, you're going to creating here one box, or you can say deep. And after that, what I can do, I am simply going to design in this product page. Okay, see how cool is it? Okay, now we can start the developing our web pages. Okay, now let's go on the product pages, and now inside that I'm going to taking first one deep, and inside this deep I'm going to taking another deep. This is nothing but for the left word, and this is for the right word. So that's a deep. Okay, so if I go on the applications, that you can see we have these applications, we have this part, this is a left part, and in the left part we have the image sections, and in this right part we having the textual and the button and all other things. Okay, so what I can do is simply going to taking two deep, and after that we could do simply going to making it flex, and direction should be flex the row. Okay, for the large devices, and for a small devices it should be flex column. So you can actually you can actually divide them, okay, in some kind of component, right? So what I can do now, I am simply going to giving some class name inside that. Let's say class name, and inside this class name I can making it flex, and after that I can making it flex call for the small devices, because you know when we writing the Tailwind CSS code, it's already built in for the small devices. So we need to do the coding for the small devices, and after that you can do the coding for the large devices, right? And after that you can making it justify between. Okay, justify between. Then if I going to giving here, let's say it's nothing but my image, and this is nothing but my let's say about sections, like that. Okay, and if I checking this one and just go on the website, you can see image and the about sections. Okay, and flex direction is nothing but column. Okay, it's nothing but in a column. You can see image and the about sections. But if I try to making this for the large image, let's say LG, and I'm going to making it flex row, then you can see now it's going to the this section is the image sections is for the image section, and this is nothing but for the about sections. And for the last devices, it will showing up that flex row. This is how you can do the responsive design, right? And now if you're, let's say, giving some gap, let's say 16 up gap, then you don't see the gap yet right now, but when you add our content, you can see the gap. And if I, for the large devices, if I am going to making is item center, let's say item center, and you can see all the images, all the content should be coming in center, but not yet. You can't see it, okay? But you can see it when we change the background of it. Okay, let's try to change the background of it. It's a gray. It should be the 900, and after that I'm going to making this text equal to white, so that you can see the text as well. And after that I can give in some padding on that, and also I'm going to making the rounded LG. Why rounded LG? You can see, yeah, now you can see here image and the about sections, and also you can see rounded LG. Right, rounded LG, you can see here rounded. Now when adding all of our content, that you can see how the image look like and how the about section look like. I just like to divide all of things in a component, right? Okay, so that's our image section. Now let's try to adding one of them So what I can do, this our image section, so we can add our first images on here. But before that, it also import it here. So what I can do, I am simply going to import it. Let's say import. So you have all of the images inside our asset folder that's called shows one.jpg. This shows 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we have the 5 images. Basically, you can show here the 4th images. So I'm simply going to load all of them, and if it is needed, we can use it, one of them. That's it. That's a shows 01 from. Then we need to go down, and we have the asset folder. Then what we have the shows 01.jpg. Okay. So if I see on here shows 01.jpg, and I'm going to copy one of them, and I'm going to paste here the 5 times. Okay, 5 times. And after that, let's start making it 2. It should be the 3. It should be the 4. It should be the 5. Okay. And same thing for here. I have to do changes on here. It should be 4, 5. It should be 4. It should be 3. And it should be 2. Okay, here you go. And yeah, it's fine right now. Now we can add in here our images. So let's try to add the images on here. So what I can do, we can add here that, let's say, image number 1. So it should be the show 1, 01. Now if I see on that, if our image is added or not, yeah, you can see here our image is added. Okay, in the sections. Okay, now inside this about section, you're going to add it one by one, no problem on that, but let's try to figure it out. Okay, now inside these div sections, we having one images, and after that, what you have, if I see the design, you can see here it having some kind of images. If I select one by one, then it automatically changes. You try to making one of single div and try to uh, explode or try to actually include all of the images one by one, we can simply going to show it out here. Okay, so what I can do, we can go on here, but first, okay, let's go on here. And now we're simply going to taking another div. Okay, taking another div, and inside this div we have all of our images. Which one you can select. So let's say div. Okay, and inside this div, I am simply going to giving here some of the images from the source that you actually already included here. So what I can do is simply going to giving here, let's say image. We have the image tag, and inside the source we're going to giving the images. So let's say shows 01, and in the alternative, let's say give it is shows 01. Okay, let's say shows. Okay, shows. So if I see this one, not here, yeah, you can see out here our show is actually visible on here. Okay, our shows is visible on these sections. Now after that, what I can do, I'm simply going to give some class name. So let's say give some class name. Let's say width is nothing but, let's say, 24, and height is nothing but the, let's say, 24, and also let's try to making it rounded is nothing but, let's say, rounded MD, and also let's make it the cursor pointer, a cursor pointer. And after that, we need to giving here one on click property, so that we can changing the images as well. But right now we are not making functional. Later on we're going to making them, just showing that how can it determine all of the things. You can see here our show is visible on here, but I need to show the images inside these sections. That means you need to also making this one as a flex. Okay, we need to making this one is a flex. So let's say class name. Okay, let's say class name, and inside there let's making a flex, and then we need to make it flex row. Okay, and justify between, and after that you can making the height of the 24. And if I go on here, then you can see it's not showing up. If I inspect it, then you can see here. You can see here, but for the last devices it is not visible right now. You can see for the last device it's not visible right now. Okay, so we need to also configure this one for the large devices as well, right? So what I can do, we can simply go into doing some state management, because we need to also do the statement, because we show here, if you see that we can show just one single images on here. Okay, just one single images on here. Let's say I'm going to showing here, let's say shows number, let's say this one, and if I say that, let's say shows number 2, shows number, let's say 3, and let's say shows number 4, like that. Okay, so if I go on here, then you can see here all of the images is coming up here, and if I inspect it right now, you can see here all of the images is set up on here. No problem, we also actually configure it for the large images, but right now you can see here all of the images should be coming up here in a single div. Now what I can do, instead of showing here one images, we can simply going to add it inside one uh, list. And after that, you can simply going to iterate to all of the value from here. And after that, you can show it in the frame, right? We can do that. So this is a div. Okay. So you can simply going to do it out, right? Uh, so let's try to do this out. But this is the class. That's our images. But for the large screen devices, we don't handle it out, right? If I see this on for the large devices, it's not working. So let's try to handle it out. So for that, we need to also include it inside another div. So let's say class name equal to, let's say, flex and flex call, and then we can uh, giving some. Okay, I don't think that we need to do it out for this deep. We can do it out for this one because we don't giving here any styling of that. So let's giving here the class name. Let's giving the class name, and this deep is not coming up here because it's already inside the full deep, so that's not showing up. Okay, and if I save it and if I go on here, you can see here right now image is showing up here. Okay, that's a mistake. Okay, let's giving some class name. So let's say flex and flex call, and after that we can giving some gap, and then we can, for the large device, you can making some width and the height of that that's is given by the designer. Now you can see it's look good. Okay, why this kind of problem is actually happening? Because we give one wrong kind of deep, because this is a full deep and this is a full deep. If I see on the design, this is one full deep, and inside this deep we have this one image and this image in a deep. This is a full deep. If I open up here my pen tool, then you can, I can make you understandable. Okay, let's remove all of them. This is one full deep, and inside this div, this is one image and this is one image, this is one div. Okay, and inside this div we have another kind of div with the image sections, right, like that. But what I do actually, I simply going to creating here this one div and this one another div. So that's why this problem is happening up here. Okay, so let's try to close it out, and it's better we can also closing this one. Okay, let's go on the full screen mode as well. Okay, now what I can do is simply going to creating here one list for the product page product. Okay, so that you can also see the product, and as well as when the user select the product from the images, it will show up in our applications, right? So that's a const, and we can also importing here the user state, because we're going to use the user state here, because we have to change the state on here. So that's why use state is needed. So let's try to creating it here. We have the image, and let's creating here one variable called set images. And then what I can do is simply going to create the use state, and inside that we can going to set all of our image. Let's say image one is nothing but my shows 01, and we can copy one of them, and after that we can pasting here the 4 times. So it should be the image number 2, and this should be the image number 3, and it should be the image number 4, and shows number 2, let's say 3, and after that you have the 4. Okay, that's user state is ready. And for the image, active image, so let's try to use here the const equal to, let's say, for the active image, if the image is active, when the user select it, okay, we need to show it up in our frame. Okay, we need to show it on frame, right? So what I can do, we can give in here also one variable called set active image. Okay, and then by default you're going to showing up here one images. So let's use the state, and inside that you can show our first images. It's nothing but the by default images, right? By default images. Cool. So now we're simply going to remove this code from here, and after, or otherwise you can comment out or remove whatever else. Okay, and then after that let's try to also design it here. Okay, so let's say class name, and we're going to making it is full, and height is equal to full, and expect is nothing but, let's say, a square, so that it can show the square shape, and object is nothing but a cover, so that it can taking in full of the width and the height of our images. And after that, let's try to making it rounded Excel. If you using here any white image, that you can so see the rounded the corner, and also let's giving here some transitions, let's say transition from the transition transform, and then after that we can giving some duration, and after we can do the hover effect. So let's say duration, let's say 100, and after that when you hover up here, and image should be a scale up. Okay, let's say hover scale, let's say 110. Okay, let's go on here, and you can see here how it look like. Cool. Now it's time to adding our images. Okay, so what I can do, because this is an object, so you can simply going to use on JSX element, and after that you can call it out in a same file. So that's why you can adding here like that's why. That's objects. Okay, it's called object dot value. Okay, values, and inside this value you can passing here our image. That's images. This image, and this image going to mapping out here. So what I can do is simply going to mapping out. So let's try to make it images. It should be better because it's a plural number. So images, and after that you can simply going to map through the value from here. So let's say map, and inside that I can taking one image as well as the index number, and after that I am simply going to showing up here in an image tag. So let's say image tag. Okay, it's not coming up here. Yeah, here you go. And inside the source I can giving here my image. So that's my image, and inside the key, because it having one key is in the when you're using the map, and inside this key I can giving here my index number. Okay, and you have the alt, and inside the alt you can giving here, it's not necessary actually, you can give it here or not, whatever else. Let's give it here, let's index +1. Okay, let's say inside the alt, let's say index +1. Okay, and then I am simply going to checking this out. Is it loading or anything else? Okay, let's go on the inspect and go on the console and see anything. Image is not defined. Okay, image is not defined. Okay, it should be the images, right? And then see right now. Yeah, now you can see one image is showing up here. One image is showing up. Yep, image is showing up, but it's look awkward because you need to also do some styling on that. So let's say class name, and if it is class name, so let's try to giving some width and height of that. Okay, then after that you can making the rounded MD, and as well as let's try to making the cursor should be the pointer. Okay, and let's say giving some transitions to the transform, and then let's giving some duration, let's say 110. Let's say giving here 300, so that it look bad or good. And when you hover up here, then you can see some scaling effect on that. Scale 110. Okay, now let's see how cool is it. But when you're selecting the images, it's not creating a boundary as well as the image is not changes. So what should you do? So let's say format document. Okay, so what I can do, we need to actually using here one method here that's called the onClick method. Okay, inside that we can adding here a method called onClick. Okay, that's called onClick, and inside this onClick it is calling one method, and inside this method you can using here the set active images, and you can set the images which one is coming up here. Okay, so if I go on here now, if I selecting this one, but it's not already showing up here, you can see it's not showing up. Okay, so yeah, it's not showing up, but why? Because it also changing it out based on the images, right? So if I go on here again and try to export inspect it and see inside the console, oh, so many error. Okay, let's click this one, no problem. Click this one, click this one, click this one. Okay, images is not defined. It's not this one. We can reload it the applications, then you can see that it don't have any error right now. Okay, but the problem is image is not changes. Okay, so why this problem? Set active images equal to user state, and yeah, we actually setting here the image number 1 and here, and we also passing here the images. Let's try to do one thing. It also giving some border on that, right? So let's try to add one more thing. We can adding here one if and else conditions. So let's try to add it out. So for that you need to using here the tick, this tick sign, And after that, I'm going to copy this thing. I'm going to cut it here and tick sign, and inside that I can paste it here. Okay, and this should be the JSX element inside a JSX element. So that's why this kind of error you can got. And inside this JSX element, we can write in here our conditions. So if the images is active, okay, if the images is active, so what I can do, inside the dollar sign, we can say that if the image is active, let's say active image, if the image is active, is equal to triple equal to is equal to image, then what I can do, we're simply going to giving some border, let's say border of 4, and as well as we can giving the border of violet, let's say violet 500. Okay, and otherwise we're simply going to making it null. Okay, we can simply going to making it null. It should be the one single one. Okay, and after that, what I can do, any problem, it's white 100, then full, then we also give it here. Okay, for the scaling, this dollar sign, if the active image, okay, if I see that if the active image, this active image, okay, it should be active image or not. Yeah, active image is equal to is triple equal to image, then you can giving here on border of violet, and otherwise we don't need to give it here. Okay, so that's why this problem. Otherwise we're simply going to making it blank. Okay, now let's start checking on here. Okay, this should be, okay, let's start to format it out. Okay, and we have the on click method, and when the method is called, then after that you can set the active is nothing but our images. Okay, so let's save it and go on here and see some error. This could be due to syntax error importing the non-string module. Anything error? Console is internal server error. Okay, I don't know why. Okay, but it's working. You can see it's working, but the image is not changing. Let me check in this one why this kind of error. Computer this code will due to syntax error the importing the modules on here. Let's try to checking this out, and after that I can come back. Okay, yeah, it's happening just because of we making this one is a constant. Okay, so what I need to do, I need to giving here my active images here. So let's active image, then it should be changes. Okay, and it should be the image one, because I just tested out why this is not changing out, right? So now you can see if I select in these images, then it will automatically changes all of the images, right? Cool. Now let's try to implement here our next sections. This is called our about sections. Okay, and inside these sections, so what I can do, we having one name, so we can first taking one div, and inside this div we simply going to taking one span tag, and inside this span tag you have the special sneakers. We can copy it from here, just go on here and you can copy it from here, special sneakers. We can copy this, and after that I can pass it here, and then we have in one h1 tag. Okay, and inside that we have the pure platinum and the metallic silver, and then we're going to pass it here. Then what we have, this is one single div, and after the div we having one paragraph tag, so which one having this kind of paragraph, so we can copy this out from here, and then I can pass it here. Okay, let's format it out, format the document, and after that what we have, we having one a6 tag, just going to making a skeleton of that. Okay, a6 tag, and inside this tag we having one prices, let's say 1900 like that, and after that we having one another div. Okay, and inside this div what we having this is a full div, just taking it consider the full div, and inside this div what we having two button, one is the negative button, one is the positive button, and also having text and also one button. So what I can do is simply going to taking it in a full div, and inside this div we having another div. Okay, this is a full div, and inside this div we having the button. Okay, so button is nothing but the negative button. Okay, then you having one span tag, so let's say span tag, and which one having my amount, so we can creating here one state for that, so let's say const. Okay, const, and you can say the amount, and let's say set amount. Okay, set amount, and after that you can making it inside a user state, and by default value is right now 1. Okay, then inside this span tag we can giving here our amount. Okay, it's by default 1. Okay, then we have another button, is positive button. Okay, so that's a button, and this is the plus sign button. And after that, what do you have? We having inside this, after this deep, we having one cart. So it's a button. This is nothing but add to cart. So let's add to cart. Oh, cart. Okay, so that's it now. So now what you can do is simply going to actually designing this one. Let's checking it out. Yeah, you can say special sneakers, this one, this one, this one. Okay, no problem. It's slightly now looks so little bit low. Okay, no problem. We will change in this one. I actually do the styling on that. Okay, now let's go on here, and this is the div. So inside this div, so what I can do, I am simply going to giving some styling on that. So let's say class name. So class name is nothing but flex call, because it should be inside the column directions for the small devices, and for the large devices, we can giving some width and the height of that. Otherwise, it should be look like that. Okay. So let's say width of 2 divided by 4. Now if you're checking this one, now it's look good, and we can giving some gap on that. So let's say gap of 4. Okay. And then inside this div, this is the div for the special sneakers and the pure platinum and the metallic silver. So you can also giving some class name inside that. So let's say class name, and inside the class name we can giving here text equal to violet. Okay, violet, let's say 400, and then you can giving here the font is, let's say, semi bold, and then you can also giving some margin on that margin. Let's say margin bottom, let's say 2, like this one. Okay. And after that, for this one, let's try to giving the class name. Let's say text 3XL, and then let's making the font equal to bold. Okay, let's checking this one. Yep, now it's look good. Pure platinum and the metallic silver. Now let's try to designing this one. Okay, so what I can do is simply going to making one class name on that. Let's say class name for text gray. Let's making it 300. Now let's see. Yeah, it's look good. And it's also designing this one, the price tag, which one is important here. Okay, let's start to text 2XL, text 2XL, and after that let's say text 2XL, and then font semi bold, and then it should be showing up here. Yep, cool. And then we can do some designing on the div. Let's say class name, and then we can giving here the flex, and the flex should be the column directions. You have the 2 div, right? So first div is nothing but making should be the row in the row sections for the small devices, and item should be center, and we can give it a gap up to 11, and we can see this one. Okay, we having this div and this div. This is another button, and this is nothing but a complete div, and inside this complete div, if I go on here, this is a complete div, and if I go on here, we having 3 things, right? So you can simply making this one as a button. This one is a button, this one is a button. So inside this one, because this is right now flex row, an item should be always should be centered. So this is one single div, and inside a single div we can giving some class name on that. Let's say class name equal to, let's say, flex. Okay, flex, and then you can making it flex column, flex row, and item center. Okay, you can also ignore this one. Okay, that's not a problem. You can see it showing up here, and after that we can giving some class name on our button. So let's say class name, let's design it out. Class name, let's say busy gray, let's say 700, and after that you can give me some padding on that so that it look good. Okay, padding of 2, and we're to giving the padding of the x-axis as well. So let's see. Yeah, cool. Now let's try to designing it out. Is rounded XL, that's a rounded LG, and text is nothing but violet. So that's a violet 400, and then we can giving the text equal to 3XL, and also transition so that it look just like the animations on that, and you can give the durations. Let's say give the duration of the 300, and after that when you hover over here, So let's say hover, we can change the BG background. So let's say violet, let's say 500. And after that, when you hover over here, and we can change the text style on that. That's a white. And if I see that, you can see here how it will look like. Okay, cool. Now we can copy the same style for the positive button as well. Okay, we can copy this button and you can pass it here as well, and just need to do some changes on that format document, and instead of minus you need to having this positive. Okay, cool, cool. But for this one, for the one, yeah, one for the amount, we have to do some styling on that. Let's say class name equal to padding of y, so that it can giving some spaces on that, and for the padding of the x and y axis, and then we can giving here the rounded algae. Okay, it's not showing up here, but if you're using here the white background, then you can showing it out here. Okay, so cool. And let's say if I'm trying to checking this one, let's say BG square right now. So let's try to remove it out. Then you can see you can't see it. Okay. Okay, we need to giving some another kind of things. Let's say 300. And now you can see this one. Okay, it's having some cooling things. Okay, you can also recharge on that. Okay, now what I can do, we're simply going to do some changes on our button. When the button should be clicked, we can set the amount inside our applications, right? So you can adding here one on click method. So on click, and this on click is calling one functions, and this function is setting out inside our set amount variables. Okay, is set amount variables, and inside a set amount, what I can do, we need to having one previous uh, text which one is already stored on that, and after that you can making it out. Let's say previous we're taking the math of the max, so maximum below of the math, because it cannot be the negative. That's why you're taking the maximum value of that, and the minimum value is nothing but the one. Okay, you can already set it out here. So inside that, what I can do, we can checking here the maximum value from the previous minus one. Previous minus one is nothing but the one minus one is can be zero. But if I taking this from the one, maximum from the one, it should be the one, right? Okay, it should be the one. So it's set it right now. Any problem? Any problem? Expected the Jesse closing tech deep. Okay. Uh, I think deep tech is here or not. Okay, let's checking this one. Why this error? Okay, you can copy this out first, then we can doing this one. Okay, let's cut it out. Any problem? Any error? No error, right? So let's remove all of things because it's hard to. Okay, we don't have to giving here any comma for that. Okay, so this is a button, and inside this button we can simply go into give it here on click without using the comma, right? So now if I format the document, and if I go on here, and if I increase it, decrease it, it's not decreasing. You can see here not decreasing. But if I going to increase it and try to copy this out, this full thing, and I'm going to add it here on click method on here. And after that, I'm going to making this one is a previous plus one. Okay, let's say previous plus one, then it can be working. Okay, it had to be working. Okay, you can see it working right now, and the minimum value is right now the one, right? Now let's do the styling for the last button. We can give him some class name. Let's say a busy should be the violet. Let's say 500, and text should be the white, and then we can give the font is semi bold, and then we can give him some padding on that. So let's say padding of 3, and px is let's say 16, and then rounded, let's say xl, and the height of let's say full, it can take in the full height of that. And after that you can giving some transitions all, and then you can giving the duration, let's say 300. And when we hover over here, then you can making this busy violet, let's say 600. And when you hover over here, you can do some use some shadow, It's a shadow algae. Okay, that's it. Okay, so if I save it out and go on here, then you can see Attgird. Okay, so you can see here how cool is it and how it actually work. And if I go on the mobile simulator, then you can see it here. Okay, let's go for the MacBook. Or here you go. Yeah, here's for the MacBook. Then you can see here how it will look like. Okay, and if I go for the iPhone Pro 11, then you can see how it will look like. Okay, let's go on the iPhone 12 Pro Max. Maybe having some problem on the button. Yeah, it's going to the down. To fix it out. Okay, that's not a problem, but it's making for this pet and the MacBook. It's your homework to do that how can you do that? Yeah, it's really super easy for responsible making responsible for this kind of mobile phone. Okay, it's your job to do that. Okay, थोड़ा थोड़ा तो होमवर्क देना पड़ेगा ना, नहीं तो काम कैसे करेंगे? Okay, what is the problem? Okay, let's select this one, Galaxy tab. Yeah, it's also cool. Okay, so that's it for today now, and hope you enjoy this full tutorial, and make sure that you subscribe my channels, and as well as share with your friends, and I'll be back with another tutorial. So till then, take care and bye bye.